Don't forget, you can reach the latest episode of Potomac Watch anytime. Just ask your smart speaker, play the Opinion Potomac Watch podcast. That is, play the Opinion Potomac Watch podcast.
From the opinion pages of the Wall Street Journal, this is Potomac Watch.
Welcome back. I'm Paul Gigot with the Wall Street Journal and Kim Strassel and Kate Odell. Kim, I guess the big issue raised by Trump's comments about NATO is just what he would do in a second term. It's been widely reported that Trump considered withdrawing from NATO in the first term. There's no question he talked about withdrawing troops from Germany, for example. And you can't think about his comments on the weekend except in the context of his continuing lobbying very forcefully Republicans, congressmen to block aid to Ukraine. So that has also suggested that Trump's commitment to the defense of Western Europe would be substantially in doubt.
And the Europeans are very concerned about this. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg put out a very firm statement saying that any suggestion obviously undermines our security and puts soldiers at risk. Germany, its foreign office, it was great on Twitter, just posted this phrase, one for all and all for one. And the Polish defense minister, who I thought made one of the, I think, most striking statements, said no election campaign is an excuse for playing with the security of the alliance. And I think that sets up not just a lot of decisions for voters as they look at this. Everyone has been extremely frustrated by Joe Biden and his legacy of appeasement and essentially getting rid of or undermining American deterrence. And you have Trump, on the other hand, the most likely Republican nominee. And while he likes to suggest he would be a stronger leader, in fact, he is radiating a lack of commitment to these alliances. And this ought to be one of the top issues in the election. We'll see if it gains some traction. But what it means is that whoever wins here, I think that there's a lot of concern among European allies with Joe Biden and his management of the office. But there is very big concern about what it would mean for Donald Trump, just his mercurial position to all of this and the degree to which he is undermining the efforts right now to stand up against folks like Putin.
Based on my own reporting and across his first term and reading the memoirs of people who work for him, I think Donald Trump is likely to try to cut a deal with Putin on Ukraine in the early innings of his presidency. And one of the prices would be Putin gets to keep a lot of Ukrainian territory and no entry into NATO for Ukraine, and probably no U.S. security commitments for Ukraine. So I think that would scare the hell out of the NATO allies and might come close to actually blowing up NATO as we have come to know it. All right, let's turn to another comment by the president, and that was regarding Nikki Haley's husband, and then how Nikki Haley responded.
She said, "I will never run against him." Then she comes over to see me at Mar-a-Lago. "Sir, I will never run against you." She brought her husband. Where's her husband? Oh, he's away. He's away. What happened to her husband? What happened to her husband? Where is he? He's gone. He knew.
To sit there and mock my husband for not being with me on the presidential trail because he is deployed and serving our country. You mock one veteran, you're mocking all veterans. But this is a pattern, Dana. He's done this over and over again. Whether he went and calls military members suckers, whether he was at Arlington Cemetery saying what was in it for them, why would they do this? The problem with Trump is he's never been anywhere near a uniform.
Nikki Haley's husband is deployed with the South Carolina National Guard overseas, so he is indeed serving his country. What do you make of the comments? How politically important are they? And just as one thought here, it would be really good to see Trump and Haley go at it on this point, if Trump would have the guts to debate her.
It's just a sign of his insecurity and weakness. I don't think it needs to be taken seriously as a political attack. I mean, if anything, her deployed husband is an asset as she runs for political office and reminding voters that she's married to somebody who has put on the uniform for the country, I think is to her great credit. And so I think it's just a classic tale of Trump down in the gutters trying to take out the opposition that way. But he's made so many remarks disparaging veterans in different fashions. And even as he talks at the same time about how he single-handedly rebuilt the military himself, So he tends to get a pass on these kinds of attacks on folks. So I thought Haley's answer was effective. He has never been anywhere near a uniform, and that's something she's got going for her that he doesn't.
Kim, what do you think? Any lasting political impact of this? I guess my view would be like Kate's, probably not. If you don't like Trump, you probably confirms what you think about Trump. And if you like Trump, you think, oh, who cares? It's just Trump being Trump.
You know, what really struck me here, I felt like it was 8 years ago. And Trump does this on purpose, by the way. He does this because it goads his opponents into doing something that is ultimately not helpful to them, which is to respond to the attacks, try to gin up some outrage, to think they have this little glimmer in their mind that, aha, maybe this is the thing he said that is finally so over the top that it's going to cause people to abandon him in droves. I remember watching Marco Rubio fall for that, various other candidates back when he was in the primary last time. It just doesn't get traction. I think if Nikki Haley, she's got to respond to this, obviously. She should draw attention to it. But you see her campaign chasing after these things that they hope will prove a weakness for Donald Trump, his failings of character here or there and the comments he makes, when they really ought to be thinking about what they can do to reboot the campaign, to offer a completely different path and route and rationalization for the campaign that they are offering, a choice rather than all the focus on him.
Yeah, you mentioned Marco Rubio. Now, Marco Rubio is solidly in Trump's camp this time. Trump could say just about anything, and Marco would say, yeah, that's terrific. That's great. Trump is really sticking it to the man. All right. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kim. And thank you all for listening. We're every day here on Potomac Watch. And thanks for joining us as we follow the presidential campaign and other goings on.